Created by favor with my whole heart. Be merciful unto me, according to thy word. I thought on my ways and turned my feet unto thy testimonies. I made haste and delayed not to keep thy commandments. The bands of the wicked have robbed me, but I have not forgotten thy law. At midnight I will rise to give thanks unto thee, because of thy righteous judgments. I am the companion of all them that fear thee, and of them that keep thy precepts. The earth, O Lord, is full of thy mercy. Teach me thy statutes. I thought on my ways and turned my feet unto thy testimonies. I made haste and delayed not to keep thy commandments. The bands of the wicked have robbed me, but I have not forgotten thy law. At midnight I will rise to give thanks unto thee, because of thy righteous judgments. The bands of the wicked have robbed me, but I have not forgotten thy law. At midnight I will rise to give thanks unto thee, because of thy righteous judgments. Remember the word unto thy servant, upon which thou hast caused me to hope. This is my comfort in my affliction, for thy word hath quickened me. The proud have had me greatly in derision, yet have I not declined from the Lord. Remember the word unto thy servant, upon which thou hast caused me to hope. I remembered thy judgments of old, O Lord, and have comforted myself. Horror hath taken hold upon me, because of the Remember the word unto thy servants, a promise thou hast caused me to hope. I have remembered thy name, O Lord, in the night, and have kept thy law. The proud have had me greatly in derision, yet have I not declined from thy law. I have remembered thy name, O Lord, in the night, and have kept thy law. This I had because I kept thy precepts, thy precepts. Remember the word unto thy servants, a promise thou hast caused me to hope.
than a log.
Rob Reiner is dead, but so are the spirits of many in Hollywood. If there was ever an area that has tried to be as godless as humanly possible, I think we found it. Now, of course, President Donald Trump seems to think the cause of death was Trump derangement syndrome. However, I tend to think derangement in general is a side effect of the Hollywood elite. Now, regardless of what you think about Trump's comments, we should all be able to agree that Rob Reiner was not a saved man. Far from it, in fact. He was born into a Jewish family. He believed in an antichrist false religion, and as a result, he is now burning in hell. Instead of worrying so much about popularity and net worth, instead of selling one's soul for fame, it would be infinitely more beneficial for people to wake up and recognize the truth about Hollywood and its propaganda. And instead of pedestalizing the Rob Reiners of the world, let's make the man of God our example to follow and get the Baptist bias.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us on the Baptist Bias. I'm your host, Pastor Jonathan Shelley. I'm doing the show from home today, but we're still excited. We've got a special guest that's coming on the show this evening as well. We're going to react to some different clips online, talk about Rob Reiner for a few minutes, maybe even recap the show from last week. And, of course, to bring up our diversity hires, my co-host, Ben the Baptist. How's it going?
Going great. I'm looking forward to talking about some of the things that have been going on, the Rob Reiner death, also reacting to the clips, and you never know what's going to happen here on the Baptist Bias when we're live. There's no filter. There's no script. We're just going to do this thing live, and we'll see what happens.
Of course, it's always live, and I've got my trusty new IFB mug, courtesy our guest this evening. Pastor Aaron Thompson's joining us this evening. How's it going, Pastor Thompson?
It's going good. Yeah, just enjoying a quiet evening with my wife, and just excited to be on the show tonight. So thanks for having me.
Thanks again for the new IFB mug. Quite stylish. Enjoying that Seattle win this weekend, or what?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I was kind of nervous though, because there's a lot of energy, and like I didn't see all the news about it, but I knew that they were hyping it up big time. So
Phillip Rivers got to play for the first time in 5 years for the Indianapolis Colts at Seattle. Major game, back and forth. Only got to throw a touchdown. I was really rooting for him. Of course, I don't even like Seattle, so it wasn't hard for me, but maybe it was conflicting for you a little bit.
Well, I mean, I've always liked Phillip Rivers. He's just a really fiery competitor. I mean, I've never seen a quarterback as competitive as him. So he'll freak out over a 2-yard completion. I mean, and over on I saw one part where he was over on the sidelines, just pumping his guys up, and I think he really inspired them to play better than, because I thought they lost 5 in a row or something like that before coming into that game. They lost their starting quarterback to an ACL injury or something. I mean, I haven't been following the NFL super major or anything, but I did see that their quarterback was out. I didn't even know Phillip Rivers was going to play until you said something to me. So it was
just all over the internet. It was just an inspiration to us older guys,
Yeah, I mean, he rolls off the couch. I mean, I saw the little detailed thing, how he just basically sitting on the couch, and I think his 44th birthday was on Monday, and they'd called him on Sunday, had his 44th birthday on Monday. He's hanging out on the couch, he's coaching high school football. His children are, in high school and stuff like that. And then he just goes to the practice squad, and then the next thing you know, he's starting an NFL game. I mean, that game's
pretty cool
fast.
guy. He's got 10 kids, right? And he's a grandpa.
Yeah, he's grandpa too. Yeah. So, I mean, that's amazing. And he took a hit in the first sequence, like he did well in the first sequence, but then they really laid a lick on him on that third down where they had to punt the ball away. And I was like, man, I don't know if he's going to get up from that one, but dude's a tough guy, man. Like he had two huge guys just smash him on that third down play. But yeah, I mean, it was a good game. The Seahawks just barely beat him by a field goal. So it was
Just eked it out. Ben, you a big NFL fan?
No, I'm not opposed to watching. I'm not opposed to watching a football game. I mean, I watched the game on Thanksgiving, Kansas City and Dallas, I think. Like it was on in the background, and I was paying attention to a little bit of it. Again, I'm not opposed to watching football. I watched a lot more of it when I was in high school, but I'm definitely not clued into current events in the NFL or anything like that. But if I go to somebody's house and they want to watch the game, I'd be happy to watch it for sure.
Yeah. I want to get to our main story, the Rob Reiner thing. But before we get there, let's see if we can play this clip K, I think, for the Phillip Rivers. He has a post-game interview. He's talking about the game, just kind of how he felt about it. I think we just play a few minutes here and react to that.
Want to go for it, there could be failure on the other side of it.
Yeah, well, this isn't the motivation, but I do think that maybe there'll be, I think about my own boys, my own two sons, but certainly it was a high school team I'm coaching, but this isn't why I'm doing it again. This is really, I know it comes with it, and I know it is a story, and I know it is rare, and all those things, but I didn't do that. I wasn't searching. I was enjoying myself kind of down there being coach in South Alabama, but these kind of things don't come up. But obviously this doesn't come up every day. But I think maybe it will, I don't know, inspire or teach, to not to run or be scared of what may or may not happen. Hopefully, certainly I think of my sons and those ball players, that I'm in charge of at the school, that they'll say like, crap, coach wasn't scared. You know what I mean? It's like, shoot, sometimes there is doubt and it's real. And again, you can the guaranteed safe bet is to go home or to not go for it, and the other one is shoot. Let's see what happens, And so, I hope that in that sense that it can be a positive to some young boys, or young people. It doesn't have to be boys, but again, that's not the motivation. But whatever God's will, I'm happy with. But certainly going to quickly turn my attention to the 49ers, and I know it'll be a Monday night game. Hopefully, Lucas Oil is rocking. I never got to experience that either in that COVID year, and we're going to scratch and fight and claw. I do know that, not because I'm here, but I do know that any team I have ever been a part of, not because of me, but I've been a part of, will fight like crazy until they tell us the season's over.
So I've seen this clip on X and some other places. It seems like they always cut it right before he kind of says whatever God's will is. Interestingly enough, but
I wonder why that's the case.
And I think he's a devout Catholic, so don't quote me on this. I don't think he's actually saved, but is a very religious person. Be great to get him saved. I think somebody told me they met Tim Tebow before and they thought he was saved. So I think it's definitely possible some NFL players are saved. And I know there was like an interview one time. Was it like Jerome Bettis or somebody? I can't remember. There was some like black player that was like basically trying to preach the gospel on the interview one time, and they kind of like shut it down. But it's interesting, regardless of if he's saved or not, I like the message of, hey, this is kind of a once in a lifetime opportunity. Yeah, I could be nervous, I could be scared, but I decided to go for it. I like that attitude in general. What do you think about the post-game interview, Pastor Thompson?
Well, I thought he's very humble, and he's very careful to not say it's because of me and my leadership, and it's a breath of fresh air compared to what a lot of players are like. Well, I'm the greatest in the game, the former Seahawks player Richard Sherman. But even though I thought that was funny when he said it after, because I hate the 49ers with a passion, but I always have. But I just think it's great to see somebody be humble and try to be inspiring and thinking about what his sons think of him, and it does take courage to. I mean, the Seahawks have the second best defense in the whole NFL. They were the hottest team going into that game, and they got some big dudes on that defensive line, some scary guys. And I think the former Dallas Cowboys defensive end plays for us now, and he had a huge game the week before where he was running back touchdowns and sacking the quarterback like 5 times, or I don't know. Yeah, I think he had 2 forced fumbles or something, and he was just killing it. What's his name? Do you know who I'm talking about? The defensive end that used to play for the Cowboys. He was really good.
That now plays for Seattle?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Like
I'm not sure. Pillar and Ground commented and said he heard from a lady at church that Carlos Beltran is saved. So,
yeah, I think baseball.
Says,
there's a lot of baseball players that probably are too. You know, because
there was. I think there was a couple Texas Rangers that were wearing like Jesus Save shirts and stuff like that after they won the World Series. So definitely, probably some sports athletes that are saved. What do you think, Ben?
I'm not opposed to that idea. I'm just not sure which one would be. I know Pastor Mejia, he had that famous somebody from the sports world apparently that was following him.
Oh yeah, it was
can't remember who it was. Maybe like a UFC, somebody in the UFC potentially.
Yeah, it was a UFC fighter. He was like he was a champion, I think, at some point.
Yeah. So, again, when it comes to NFL, I like watching a football game. I just find the league hard to follow because I want to watch the full games, but they're always on Sunday, which is annoying. But I will tell you this, and this is a total random comment, but the greatest football game I've ever watched was the Giants and the Patriots in the Super Bowl in 2010, I believe, where the one bro makes the catch with one hand on his helmet.
Plaxico Burress.
Yeah.
Eli Manning throws to Plaxico Burress. They kick the field goal. They beat the undefeated Patriots.
That's exactly the reason why I love the game so much. What a storyline going in. Undefeated Patriots team. Giants were definitely not undefeated. I think they lost like 6 times that year or something. But regardless,
he played
those are my
football times. The Patriots won that game.
Those are my football memories.
The greatest Patriots game of all time, and Patriots team of all time, and they got beat. It's just any given. That's why they say any given Sunday you could get beat by.
Well, as long as it's according to the script.
Yeah,
some people think the NFL script.
It was DeMarcus Lawrence who I was talking about.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
He's real. He's older now, but like he's playing really good. So
our crew said someone's grandmother's brother's sister's cousin knows somebody that might be saved in the NFL. So it's pretty impressive. Somebody says in the comment, it's totally rigged and scripted. I think that there's a lot of sports collusion, especially, the NBA's been caught. Obviously, there was a World Series. The Black Sox got caught cheating. People throw fights and stuff like that. I don't know that there's a ton of cheating in the NFL as far as like throwing games or scripting these plays and stuff, because it just seems too difficult to me. Maybe I'm just naive.
It's more individuals. It's probably individual players. Like, someone comes to them with an envelope. It's like, hey man, you missed this tackle. Just missed this one tackle. And, there's a Saints player. I don't know if you remember this. They're playing the Vikings, and this Vikings player, he caught the pass, but when the Saints player went to tackle him, he like whiffed, and it looked totally. There's no way he whiffed that bad. It was just like he.
I know there's like fantasy stuff, and I know there's like obviously like you can bet on individuals like how they're doing, and there's some little things here and there, and it wouldn't surprise me if that's influenced people's like decision making on the field and some of that. But I'm just saying, like in general, like who wins the games and who gets to the Super Bowl, like. I just feel like it's almost too difficult to really.
Well, think about this game.
Get exactly
the Patriots versus Atlanta several years ago, and the Falcons were completely dominating the Patriots.
Was it 24-0 or 24-3?
Yeah, they were just running the ball down their throats, and then all of a sudden, the second half, the coach just stops running the football, just completely stops. It's like, why would you stop running the football when you're up that big?
But coaches make dumb decisions. Did Pete Carroll really get paid to tell Russell Wilson to throw an interception, lose the game, and not run it?
That was a pride thing. I think they wanted they just wanted to make Russell Wilson the star of that game, and that's why Marshawn Lynch just ran over to the sidelines and laughed right in Pete Carroll's face.
I mean,
And that's how he tells
like
the story.
Peyton Manning goes against the Seattle Seahawks, and it's like the unstoppable force against the immovable object, and the Seahawks just crushed them and humiliated them beyond anything that makes sense. And to me, like, I just don't see how that would have been any script, because number one, like from a sports betting perspective, they smashed them so hard that it wouldn't. They had plenty of room there for sports bets to, make the over or the under. Like, they didn't need to do that. As far as ratings, like, everybody's like turning it off after halftime because it's such a blowout. Like, I just don't think like those kind of things are going to happen, from a script perspective. And again, I'm not saying there hasn't been awkward plays. People show awkward plays. Obviously, there's questionable calls. Obviously, you can that like the NFL probably wants certain teams to make it to the Super Bowl just for the money aspect. So maybe the refs are gonna kind of try to help teams a little bit here and there with certain calls, but I don't know. I'm just not that. I guess I'm not conspiratorial enough on the NFL. Someone can.
Well, in Oregon, they used to have a thing called. In Oregon, they used to have a thing called sports action betting, and the NFL said they would never put an NFL team in Portland because they had that and they refused to get rid of it, which they finally did get rid of it. But betting on the NFL, they would never put a franchise if you bet on football. Now they have a team in Las Vegas, and now they have all these commercials for betting, and they have that little tiny comedian, whatever his name is, Kevin Hart, and LeBron doing commercials for it. I mean, it used to be a big deal to bet and gamble on sports, and it was against the law. And now it's just like completely taken over all sports. So it's like, how could you not be cheating? I mean, I don't know. There still isn't an NFL team in Portland. There probably never will be now because of thanks to Antifa. Now it's probably because of that. But yeah, the NFL vowed to never put a team in Portland because of sports action betting. Now everybody does. So, anyway.
Well, let's go ahead and move on to a topic where Ben can feel like he can talk about it.
Hey,
Rob Reiner.
Hey, I want to say that Chad Pennington used to be my guy.
Chad Pennington.
That was my favorite.
Wasn't
QB.
he a Jet? Did he play for the Jets?
Well, I lived in New Jersey, and the Jets were my favorite team, and I was a big Chad Pennington fan.
What about Charbonneau? Wasn't there a guy named Charbonneau or something that played for them too?
Mark Sanchez is one of my least
Mark
favorite
Sanchez was
players
another
to ever
one,
play.
and I remember when he fumbled the ball by running right
butt
into somebody.
fumble.
Yeah,
The
ran
butt
right into the guy.
fumble play.
See, I know a little bit
felt
of
like
NFL. You just got to get
Mark
me
Sanchez
like
was the worst quarterback ever.
Didn't he just like get in some
He
kind of
wasn't
big
that good.
controversy or something? Just like he had a big, I don't know, some weird interaction with somebody that was some illegal thing or something. He got arrested. I don't know.
Football's a cool sport.
Over,
I'm not opposed to watching it. I just need to find the right time.
It's way cooler than soccer. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Does Lebanon even have sports? Is it like camel races or?
No, they like basketball and soccer over there.
Okay.
Camel races.
I'm just trying to relate. Okay, let's talk
That
about
broke me, bro. I'm sorry.
All right, let's talk about Rob Reiner here for a moment. Now,
Sorry.
I saw on Drudge Report that it says that his parents, or Rob Reiner and his wife, their throats were slit, and I guess the presumed assailant or the alleged murderer is their own son.
Yes.
According to online, he's an atheist. Rob Reiner's dad was an atheist. He's a famous director. What is what is this famous movie like in your opinion? Can you think of? I don't even know what would be the most famous movie that he was in.
Well, let me
I have
see.
no idea.
I'm
I'm gonna have to look it up.
Let's look it up live on the air
A
here.
Few Good Men.
Well,
Is that
our
something?
production crew is saying Princess Bride.
Oh, Princess Bride. Yeah, that's
Made
a
that
really
one,
famous
didn't he?
movie for sure.
Was he in it, or are you talking about directed? Because he directed a lot of movies.
Anything. I don't know. I guess we could pull up his IMDb. He's known for All in the Family. He's known for This Is Spinal Tap, 1984. I don't know. That's pretty old. The Story of Us. It also
Reiner,
says
the guy that played
The
Meathead?
Wolf on Wall Street. Say that again.
Was Rob Reiner Meathead? That's who Meathead is in All in the Family, huh?
Says he's an actor in 90 films.
Yeah, he was
in A Few Good Men.
I don't know what his real name is in All in the Family, but that's what Archie Bunker always called him. It was his girlfriend's boyfriend. His daughter's boyfriend. And he just called him Meathead all the time, or whatever. He was a Pollock. He called him a Pollock and all this other stuff. So
he was the director of A Few Good Men. That's a pretty famous movie. So the guy's definitely a highly successful Hollywood director, in films, actor. He was in All in the Family. Let's see. I don't know. Oh, this is giving me quotes from him in the movie. He was Meathead, Michael Meathead Stivic.
Yeah,
he was in 185 episodes.
Yeah, he's one of the main stars of it. But he's the narrator of The Princess Bride. So the voice that's talking you through the movie in Princess Bride is Rob Reiner.
They say we should talk about Archie Bunker. Yeah, he was born into a Jewish family. I'm just saying that online it was saying that both him and his dad were atheists.
Maybe he became atheist later.
I think that's pretty common for the Hollywood elite, the Hollywood Jews, that a lot of them are kind of atheists later in life, right? I mean, isn't that your understanding, Ben?
Which is weird because they still call themselves Jews, but they're not necessarily, they're children of converts, and they probably know that. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I think they still call themselves Jews, but they will say that they're also atheists at the same time, which is very weird. But, if you've seen Marching to Zion, it makes sense. I mean, you had a bunch of Jews in that movie talking about how they don't even believe the literal account of Genesis or anything like that. The Bible is just totally metaphorical. Old Testament, I guess, is totally metaphorical. So it's not out of the realm of possibility for these people to call themselves Jews, but they're atheists still.
He directed When Harry Met Sally. Looks like he was married, then divorced. Then he has a couple more kids. He said that his childhood home was not observantly Jewish, although he did have a bar mitzvah ceremony. His father, Carl, had become an atheist in response to Hitler and the Holocaust. Wait a minute. Is that timeline? Does that timeline? I guess that timeline could be real. He's what, 70 something?
Yeah.
How old was he? He was 78. So his dad could have been 98 or 100. Which, yeah, I guess his dad could have been 20 years old around the time of Hitler. So, interesting. Do y'all know anything about the actual murder here?
Yeah, so he had a mentally ill son. The mentally ill son was a drug addict, and he snapped. Something happened with his brain. He totally snapped and killed, and obviously committed murder. So that's the gist of it.
Saying online meth. He was a meth head. 32-year-old son. Slit their throats. Is this, and again, like, these things are kind of crazy, but is this reminiscent of what the end times is going to be like? Is this just an isolated incident? What are your feelings or thoughts on this, Pastor Thompson?
Well, I mean, the further we get along towards the final parts of the end times, I mean, the Bible talks about this, so it's not a huge shocker that people, not only are they disobedient to parents, but they have no natural affection. And I think that can be talking about being a homo, but it also can be talking about not being you don't care if your parents, that they're your parents, so you kill them anyway, or you don't care that they're your children. You put them in a dumpster, or sell them to uh, traffic them or whatever. I think that without natural affection can mean a lot of different things. But I mean, obviously, if he's got mental illness, it's and he's on drugs. What I heard is that they're at the Conan O'Brien like Christmas party or something, and people saw them arguing, and they got into a huge argument at the party because apparently he went to the party with them. And then, like, I think the next day, the sister found their bodies. So that's pretty horrific, but apparently it was a pretty bad argument. So,
I mean, the Bible does say that children are going to rise up and cause their parents to be put to death as an end times, event. Is this, again, did you think this is just kind of an isolated event of just a rough situation? Is this reminiscent of what we're going to see more and more as we get closer? What do you think?
Yeah. Oh, you're talking about
Are you addressing me or Pastor?
I mean, I'm just talking. I mean, I think it's fine if we just kind of keep it open discussion. But Pastor Thompson, what do you think?
Go ahead, Pastor Thompson.
Oh, no, I was just, in 2 Timothy chapter 3, it just says, notice in the last days, perilous times shall come, for men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good. Then, of course it goes on, but I mean, this is just the way that things are going to, I mean, obviously we started being in the last days when Jesus came on the scene, but I believe that these things are just going to get worse. The world's not going to get better and better. It's going to get worse and worse. So I don't think it's isolated at all. I think you see a rise in these things because of the breakdown of the family. I mean, people are being less and less unchurched. I mean, I live in the most unchurched state in the whole country, Washington State. So, and it's, people just don't go to church here. Or Oregon, it's two of the worst. And, when people have no moral compass, they, he's a two-generation atheist family. I mean, what kind of morals do you have when you're an atheist? I mean, the guy's like severely, had severe Trump derangement syndrome. And I mean, I think Trump comment, you're probably going to cue that up. I think it's in the queue to see what Trump said about him. But
we also have a clip of him about
liberal.
Yeah, we have another clip about him on the murder of Charlie Kirk. Ben, do you want to give your thoughts and set that clip up, possibly?
Yeah, so we're trying to show some background here on this guy. He was a raging libtard, and there's a big controversy online about Trump's response to this, and I think it's important to understand the context of who we're talking about, what he has said in the past, and how he himself has responded to the deaths of people on the right, including Charlie Kirk. So that's how I would set this up.
Okay, let's hear what he had to say about Charlie Kirk.
When you first heard about the murder of Charlie Kirk, what was your immediate gut reaction to it?
Well, horror, absolute horror. And I unfortunately saw the video of it, and it's beyond belief what happened to him, and that should never happen to anybody. I don't care what your political beliefs are. That's not acceptable. That's not a solution to solving problems. And I felt like what his wife said at the service, at the memorial they had, was exactly right. And totally, I believe, I'm Jewish, but I believe in the teachings of Jesus, and I believe in doing to others, and I believe in forgiveness. And what she said to me was beautiful, and absolutely, she forgave his assassin, and I think that is admirable.
That's weird. He's an atheist on paper, claims to be Jewish, then says he believes in the teachings of Jesus. these Hollywood elites just say things, and you just kind of think like, what in the world? Like, how do you even reconcile this other than him just saying random things?
I don't know. At the end of the day, he's trying to take a conciliatory tone there in the clip, and we saw that Trump went a different direction. If you want, we can cover that later. But regarding
we can go to it next.
Yeah, I just think regarding his response, he's trying to be conciliatory there, and I'll give him credit that other than being dishonest about Jesus, I mean, Judaism teaches horrific things about the Lord Jesus Christ and hates him. Other than that aspect of it, there isn't really that, in my mind, a huge problem with the way that he handled that, I think.
Do you think that he's a little bit fake here just because he was so vitriolic towards the right and Trump and his crew, and then when they get killed like this, it can look bad on how some of these
people
Hollywood celebrities have come out in the past?
I will say this. I think people in his position, they think long and hard about how their response will play in the public sphere, how it's going to play out in the public ecosystem politically, whether or not it will work out for them, how it will affect their image, how it will affect them from a PR perspective. And so the answer to your question is yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of boomers hear that and they think, oh, he said he's Jewish and he likes Jesus, then, what a saved, awesome person. And yet, we're kind of sitting here thinking like, what in the world? This doesn't even make sense at all. Let's play this Trump clip, and I want to get Pastor Thompson's thoughts on it too.
A number of Republicans have denounced your statement on Truth Social after the murder of Rob Reiner. Do you stand by that post?
Well, I wasn't a fan of his at all. He was a deranged person as far as Trump is concerned. He said he knew it was false. In fact, it's the exact opposite, that I was a friend of Russia, controlled by Russia. It was the Russia hoax. He was one of the people behind it. I think he hurt himself in career-wise. He became like a deranged person, Trump derangement syndrome. So I was not a fan of Rob Reiner at all in any way, shape, or form. I thought he was very bad for our country, yeah.
Blue slips, Mr. President. Leader Thune doesn't seem...
Trump derangement syndrome. What do you think, Pastor Thompson?
Well, I mean, I know that he went after Trump a lot. But I don't know what I was trying to look up what he exactly said on Truth Social. I can't.
Yeah, it's
really...
the Truth Social post. Yeah, the Truth Social post is the one that really garnered near unanimous condemnation from both sides of the aisle. MTG.
You have the quote?
Nick Fuentes. We can pull it up. MTG, Nick Fuentes, Alex Jones. The list goes on and on of right-wing personalities that have come out and said, I disagree with this, I don't like it. Obviously, the left, they're going to disagree with everything he says, but that's the big controversy, and of course, he's asked about it in that clip, but we should pull it, and there it is. A very sad thing happened last night in Hollywood. He goes on. He says that he had a crippling disease known as Trump derangement syndrome, sometimes referred to as TDS. Driven people crazy, a raging obsession with President Donald J. Trump. So this is the response. A lot of people don't like it, even people on our side. And it's caused a big controversy. Like I said, I've seen unanimous condemnation of this.
Yeah, but do you think a lot of people just don't like it because, number one, like Rob Reiner's obviously just a huge celebrity, died in a horrific way. And so someone pissing on his grave or making it about them is going to be negative from a PR perspective for most. So they just want to condemn it because they simply just want, they don't want to lose fans. They don't want to lose money. They don't want to lose support. I kind of feel like no matter who you are, if you come out here and just say Rob Reiner's burning in hell and a piece of crap, then it doesn't help you necessarily.
I only tend to do that with people that are false prophets. So, I mean, I think they're fair game, but that's just my opinion.
Absolutely. I feel like I have no problem with that. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with saying, hey, him and his wife are in hell because they didn't believe in Jesus and get saved. I think, pastors at a funeral, when they know the person's not saved, can sometimes scare the hell out of people and say, hey, look, if you don't get saved, you're going to die one day, and these people are in hell. And sometimes, it helps people's, pulling them out of the fire, not being like Charlie Kirk. I'm not Charlie Kirk. Kirk Cameron, sorry, mixed up those names. Kirk Cameron saying like, oh, you'll just cease to exist. What kind of nonsense is this? And, I think a lot of people had mixed feelings on Charlie Kirk himself, though, because some people thought he wasn't saved and they came out pretty harsh against him. But it didn't seem like there was any real clear clips of him saying something false about salvation. So I think a lot of us wanted to just give him the benefit of the doubt. But, with Rob Reiner, it's obvious this guy's not saved. The guy's in hell, dies a horrific way. It kind of makes me think of, isn't there a king that goes, is it Sennacherib? He goes back home,
yes,
and his kids kill him or something like this.
Sennacherib dies from his sons. Yep,
his two sons just slay
After,
him. And
after Hezekiah prays before the Lord, and the Lord answers his prayer after he spreads it out before the Lord.
Yep. Yeah.
Rabshakeh comes and tells everybody they're going to drink their own piss and eat their own dung, and says those hard speeches to the Lord, and then the whole army is destroyed, and then Sennacherib gets killed by his sons after they go back.
Is that a parallel here? That Sennacherib's a pretty prideful person, successful person, kind of is against the things of God, and then God just humiliates him and slays him with his own kid.
Why not? It could be. And look, I think a lot of people, and maybe even you guys, are not going to agree with my opinion here, but I actually, and I put this on X and I stand by it, I agree with Trump's reaction to this. And a lot of people are going to hate me for that, and they're not going to like what I just said. But let me explain why. The left has wanted Trump to die. They've wanted him imprisoned. He was assassinated, or I should say there was an assassination attempt on him on multiple occasions that they celebrated. Rob Reiner did eat, sleep, and breathe hating Donald Trump. Who am I to lecture him about how he reacts to this? If he wants to react to these people's downfall in this way, I think he has that right. That's my personal opinion. I know people are going to disagree. That's fine. But that's the way I look at it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care. And then, frankly speaking, a lot of these leftists and a lot of these celebrities and liberals will say like, "Oh, if Trump's elected president, I'm going to leave America. I'm going to, I'm going to set things on fire." I mean, some of these celebrities have effigies of Donald Trump, burning them, beheading him, just doing all kinds of crazy nonsense, acting like the sky is falling if he gets elected president, which is kind of crazy because he seems like a super left type of individual anyways. He's not like radical left, but Trump was left of the spectrum for sure. And you kind of wonder if you have such a delusional take and you're just so extreme and weird and the sky is falling, would that have a negative impact on your son, on your children, on your personal relationships? Could that cause you to suffer the consequences of these issues? I think in some ways it's a little bit like celebrating when your enemies are destroyed in kind of a gruesome way. And, you kind of like have a little bit of hesitation. But I mean, he says at the end of this, he says, "May Rob and Michelle rest in peace," which of course is not happening. They're burning in hell. But, I think that maybe in some ways, if you think about it, Trump's kind of trying to be helpful and saying, hey, don't get this like weird obsession of hatred towards people, because it's just gonna cause you problems. And I don't want to see bad things for Rob Reiner. I don't even think he's necessarily saying that he doesn't like Rob Reiner. He says it was a sad thing. He says he was super talented. Says that he wishes that he rests in peace. I mean, if people are going to say this is horrific, like
it wasn't that bad.
It's really not even that bad. It's pretty mild.
Not what I would have said. It's way less harsh than something I would say. Like if it was like a false prophet or something. I mean, I would be way more harsh. I would say at the end he's burning in hell and has no hope. So, I mean, it's definitely not the new IFB response. So, I mean, I'd be much more based than that.
I mean, anytime someone dies as a false prophet, I mean, we know what Pastor Thompson's going to be preaching. And so, that's pretty good. But I mean, you've gotten some good attention. Like you really rattled some cages with some of your so-and-so's Burning in Hell series. Is Billy Graham kind of your biggest one?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's still up too. It has like, I don't know, it started getting throttled at 300 something thousand. I think it's almost at 400,000 or something. I haven't looked at it lately, but now they just throttle everything you do. Nothing can truly go viral anymore. But the last one was John MacArthur, and that one was going pretty well, and then it just kind of just stopped getting traction. And I did the Duck Dynasty one that got.
Is that Phil?
Whatever, but yeah,
Phil Robertson.
Yep. And then
when did he die? Was that pretty
Ravi
recent?
Zacharias, Moses. You know who Moses Gala is, right? He said that his whole family was big fans of Ravi Zacharias.
You're talking about Faithful Word, Moses.
Yeah, he said his family was like huge Ravi Zacharias fans, and they knew him. Like he had dinner over at their house and stuff. And then, like when he heard that sermon, like
is Ravi Indian?
Yeah. Well, he used to visit there. I think he is Indian. I'm pretty sure, maybe not, but like he looked like he was. But
Ben, you know a lot of things about Indians. Yeah. Is Ravi Zacharias Indian?
I believe he is. Right? I think he is. I would dispute the claim that I know a lot about Indians, but
honestly, in your dialect,
it would make a lot of sense for him to be Indian, considering that he's a professional scammer. So it just kind of goes well with the Indian stereotype there.
I think you would go over there to visit some young women or something. I can't do this as good as Ben.
He's a pervert. Canadian. Yeah. Serial adulterer, false prophet, burning in hell.
I think it's important to
before it even came out about him being all these things, and then like it came out, and then I was like, "See, I told you." But it's like that's what the Bible says that they're going to be like. So it's not like really super hard to make predictions like that. But all that came out after I preached the initial sermon that he was a serial adulterer and stuff. But then people are still like, "Oh, you should forgive him. He was a brother," and all this other stuff. It's just like the same thing that people always say.
Someone in the chat's asking if Steadfast Jacksonville still operates. Yeah, it's a Abiding Word Baptist Church with Pastor Theo Matthews. So I think you could probably find it online if you look it up. I don't know. There's really much more to say about Rob Reiner. Unfortunately, He died, went to hell. Son's a psychopath. His wife died with him.
I'm not endorsing what happened by any stretch of the imagination. It's evil and wicked and disgusting for a son to rise up against his parents in the way that he did. It's horrific. It's awful. It should never happen. I wish this didn't happen. I was just saying that I understand Trump's response, and it's not about defending Trump. It's just about the fact that this is a group of people who have an obsessive hatred toward him. How do you expect them to react? And at the end of the day, this wasn't a righteous person or anything like that. I think it was an evil, wicked person. And so for him to respond the way that he did, I just don't see the problem. That's my personal opinion. That doesn't mean, hey, I love that the son killed his parents. Obviously not. It's horrific.
Ben wanted to react to some other clips. We got a lot of other internet stuff to react to. You got questions, you got things you want to throw them in the chat. We'll respond to them as we see them. I want to respond to this one clip, and so we're going to change subject. If someone still wants to say something about Rob Reiner, they can, but
it's a huge controversy online, Pastor Shelley. The reaction to this and everything. Everybody's kind of up in arms. I think you've taken a calmer approach to the whole thing.
I don't think people care that much. I think it was the news of the week and people want to respond to it. But I want to respond to another clip. It's by this Manosphere guy. And I think Lily is what her name is. They did a little show together, and they're talking about girls that are ran through, how men just need to marry them anyways. And I want to play this clip and let's respond to it. It's a different subject. Let's go for it.
The young white man, you are truly alone. All the young white guys need to team up. because it is us against the world. Everyone hates us. You guys need to wake up to that fact. We need to become racist, and we need to take charge.
And by the way, don't buy into this propaganda that, oh, white girls are just whores. Let's go to fucking Colombia and get a cheap hooker.
Yeah.
This passport
language
bullshit,
warning,
that's
sorry.
Jewish. That's Jewish as fuck. That's
Language
a Jewish
warning.
psyop to make you have
Language.
mongrel babies.
If you're non-white, if I was non-white and I wasn't in this battle like I am, if I was a black dude, I would be a passport bro.
Yeah.
For non-whites, I get it. Because you can go to a third world country and get a much hotter girl. You just can't. As an American with like more money, you can pull something way better in a third world country. But she's gonna be brown. But if you're a black dude or if you're a brown dude, that's fine. If I was non-white, I think I would be a passport bro. But if you're white, we're gonna have to wife up these hoes. You're gonna have to suck it up and wife up one of these American white girls, and but it'll be okay.
Because your race matters that much. Like your race, in 10 generations, your line will have continued. And nobody will care that your great-great-grandmother was a hoe because you exist and you're more white people. The white
Just
race
pause it for a second.
must be preserved.
This is such a stupid, bad take. You don't even have to go back 10 generations. There's plenty of people that have Native American, Black, Hispanic, whatever in their descendancy, and you can't tell. So like, do I care more about grandma being Indian or Native American or Greek or Black or being just a raging whore? Like, I would way rather find out that my grandma was Aunt Jemima, picking some cotton, than to find out that grandma is just this giant whore. But she was white. She was a white whore. Like, this is just a weird narrative. Like, do you care at all about grandma or great grandma, her skin color, or would you care more about her being like godly?
What do you think, Pastor Thompson?
This question too.
Just jump in.
Is she a saved hoe? Because Rahab was saved and she was ran through apparently, but she's in the line of Christ. So I would prefer not to know, but I think everybody in Rahab's line knew that she was. She's literally called Rahab the harlot through the whole Bible and in the New Testament. So I don't think it necessarily bothers her too much. It's not like her name was changed. She's like Rahab, middle name the, last name harlot. I think that when you're saved, and obviously some men can't handle that, and it's not for everybody. But she married. I feel like she married Salmon in the Bible, and then
I think that's a good point. But at the same time, isn't the Proverbs geared towards young men? And it's basically just saying stay away from whores and the woman dressed like a harlot.
I'm just saying, there's an exception to the rule as far as I don't think that just because someone has had a shady past that we should completely take them out of the running. If they're still a whore, if they're still, obviously we should try to be a virgin and marry a virgin. But there's some guys out there that are, they're not much better, and then they're looking for the chaste virgin, and it's like, dude, you got a worse past than they do, So I just think that there's cases where I just think that someone should be saved, obviously, and if you can't,
but again, the contrast of this video is like grandma's a whore versus being somewhat ethnic. Like, I feel like that's just a no-brainer. That who gives a rip how ethnic she was, and specifically, again, Rahab the harlot is from Canaan, so she's kind of a double whammy, I guess, in that perspective.
Both, yeah.
But you got
she hits
Eunice,
both, she check marks both.
Right. You got Lois, you got Eunice, as spiritual descendants, or ancestors of Timothy. And that seems like what's important, right? Is like grandma was saved. And I agree with you. Like if Rahab the harlot's saved and she's repented and she's trying to figure out a way forward, I'm not saying we should just condemn these people. But at the same time, it's just kind of like nonsense to say that you would you would take a whorish white woman over a woman that's ethnic or non-white. Like this is just such a bad advice. And like if I had a young man, he's like, hey, I'm interested in this woman. She's from another country, whether that be the Philippines or whether that be from Mexico or South America or the Caribbean, and she's a virgin, but she's not white. It's like, dude, marry her. Don't marry the woman that's been quote ran through. Like if I have to help you, give advice, like that would be my personal opinion. Ben, what do you think about this argument? What do you think about these comments?
Well, do you make a distinction at all between an unrepentant whore and someone who was a whore in her past but has repented of that and wants to live a godly life moving forward?
Sure.
Because I think those are two different categories. It seemed like in the video they're talking about a woman who is currently present tense a whore, and that you might as well just wife her up regardless because you need to continue your ethnic line. We need to make America continue to be white. And that's kind of the point they're making. But, obviously it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, though, it's such a stupid premise because there's plenty of American white girls that you could find that haven't been quote unquote ran through regardless. So if that's your preference, then it shouldn't be to where you have to pick between a total whore and foreign. I think you can find domestic women that actually meet the godly criteria.
Yeah, I agree. Let's keep playing because the clip gets even worse. And I want to respond to a few other comments.
Served at all causes. And by the way, girls become hoes when they don't have a guy putting them in line. So if like most girls will take on the mindset of the guy that they're dating. So if you're conservative, I'm not saying go out and get some radical, insane liberal, like that's beyond the pale, but most girls will kind of meld into who you are, and if you just put them in their place, it'll be fine. And you got to do it for the race.
You got it. We're going to have
race.
Well, and again, and circling back, this is why I disagree with these pastors telling all these young men to wait till they're married, because none of the girls are virgins. Being a virgin man marrying a non-virgin woman is a terrible idea. You have no idea what you're getting. She's going to be able to just totally control you. You have no idea what you're getting into. So I do not, in America in 2025, I do not recommend waiting till marriage. As a man, if you're a woman, try and stay pure. But as a man, none of the girls in this country are virgins. You're not going to find a virgin wife. So if she's going to be ran through, you need to be ran through as well. Ran through. Men aren't run through. Men do the running through. But go rack up a body count and then get yourself one of these ran through white women. I'm sorry, we have no choice. This is the situation. And then hopefully our children can grow up in a country that's not totally fucked up. Okay, guys, that's the episode.
All right, you could stop the clip, but here's the thing. This is what's so stupid about this take is they're trying to say this is like the Jews are trying to convince us not to marry white women or something. It's like, no, Jews are doing exactly what you're saying. Let's just commit rampant fornication. Let's just all go to whoredom. Women go to whoredom, men go to whoredom. Like, it's just inevitable at this point. No. The way we reverse course is by people staying virgin again. And look, I don't care. Hosea has to marry a whorish woman, but I don't think that Hosea is going out there and whoring around in preparation to his marriage or something like that. Look, there's nothing wrong with being a virgin on your wedding night, male or female. Both should do that. And going out and sleeping with whorish women, because here's the thing: for most men are not like these chads. Most men are not these super alphas. So the type of women that they're going to attract are going to be the most whorish type of women, meaning that the chances that they have STDs or some kind of disease are just astronomically high. So if men are going out there and just trying to procure as much fornication as possible, they are really just setting themselves up for horrific fornication consequences like STDs and who knows what. This is to me, this is one of the worst advice I could ever hear. And again, he's attacking pastors. This is what the manosphere is producing today. These are what the top celebrities and the top viral influencers are saying today, just go out and commit fornication. Don't do what the Jews are telling you to do. Is this message somehow contrary to Jews, Pastor Thompson?
Somehow contrary to Jews? No.
Yeah, the Jews telling us to stay virgin.
No, this guy's a wicked idiot. The Bible says to flee fornication. Like this guy's openly preaching for people to go and commit fornication, which would get you thrown out of church. Like this nobody should listen to this guy. He's a complete clown, and he's wicked for saying such things. And like they're both idiots. And this guy doesn't deserve the mustache on his face. It looks terrible anyway. So like just grow a full beard or trim that thing. It looks like a caterpillar like laid across his face or something.
I have infinite more respect for every minority in my church than these people. Like I want nothing to do with white people that have this mindset of just pro fornication, just sleep around. This is wicked. This is stupid. This isn't going to help America. This is not going to help young people. They're wrecking. And again, this advice is wrecking people's personal lives. There are going to be young men that listen to this and think like, oh man, I don't want to be a loser, or I don't want to miss out on the fun. So then they're going to go out and they're going to make horrific decisions because of advice like this. I don't think that this is just it's just a funny video. I think that there are people that are going to make stupid decisions based on listening to this kind of advice. What do you think, Ben? Do you think people are taking, like some people are taking this stuff seriously?
I think so, especially in the manosphere, where the attitude is, especially as a man, for you to go out and try to sleep with as many women as possible, irregardless of the fact that that's a great way for you to get a disease, and it flies in the face of what the Bible says. Here we have a difference between this guy who does not appeal to Scripture, obviously, to determine his own moral code, and us as Bible-believing Christians who would have the complete opposite view. The Bible says in 1 Corinthians chapter 10, neither let us commit fornication as some of them committed and fell in one day 23,000. God hates fornication. God thinks it's wicked as hell. He killed 23,000 people in one day for it. And going around and sleeping with a bunch of women as a man committing rampant fornication does not make you cool. It does not make you a Chad. It does not make you more masculine. It makes you a whoremonger. Why do I think that? Because I believe the Bible. That guy doesn't.
Right.
I'm a Christian.
Hebrews
I appeal to this.
too.
I appeal to this to determine my worldview, to determine what is right and wrong. He doesn't. And look at the result, by the way, of the way that guy operates. Oh, let's go just sleep with whoever you want. That's how you ruin your life.
Yeah, and we don't even know the end of this guy. You know, Bible says in Hebrews,
destroys the nation.
Amen. Hebrews says marriage is honorable in all, and the bed undefiled, but whoremongers and adulterers God will judge. So, you know, whether you think it's cool or not. I mean, even Pierce Morgan made fun of Nick Fuentes for being a virgin. But hey, you know, there's nothing wrong with being a virgin. You know, it doesn't make you more special to go sleep with a hooker or a whore or a harlot, as opposed to just saying, hey, you know what? Women don't have control over me. I mean, the Bible says in Proverbs 31, give not thy strength unto women, nor thy ways to that which destroyeth kings. You know, this is not a cool attitude. It's not fun. It's again, it's locker room talk. It's this carnal attitude. And what's so funny is, like, you know, I'm surprised he wouldn't have gotten paid $7,000 for this video, because it's exactly what the Jews want. The Jews do want you to go out there and bread and circuses, just committing fornication. It's gross. It's disgusting.
Give him money to start his own study Bible or something.
And why attack pastors? Like, he didn't attack Jews in this clip. He attacked pastors. You know, that should show you who the real enemy is for this guy. It's not Jews. Jews aren't opposing this guy's agenda. He's like
a famous
viral. He's some kind of a viral influencer. Hayden McDougal or Douglas or Hayden Mc. I don't know. Someone called him the Monopoly.
Sure. What a sad state of affairs, by the way, that somebody like Lily Gaddis, the airhead, sitting next to him, not that he's exactly an intellectual powerhouse himself, but you have this airhead sitting next to him who's laughing, talking about, oh yeah, in agreement, and we need to preserve the white race and everything like that. It's like, why are you an authority on anything? Just because you get up in a skimpy outfit on X, all of a sudden people are supposed to listen to you and actually take your opinion seriously? How about you shut up and get back in the kitchen instead of getting up online and blowing your mouth off obnoxiously about things that you have no idea what you're even talking about?
Someone shared another video of this guy in the chat. Is woman propaganda. That's the name of this guy's like handle or something like that. He's mostly against feminism. And again, sometimes you hear the clip and you're thinking like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. But just because people are right on a particular issue doesn't mean that they're a good person to listen to or follow. And I think that's also happened with the Jew issue. So like a lot of people are kind of right on the Jew issue now. But again, that's an easy take. I think I preached that. I said, being right on the Jew issue just makes you normal, because the Bible says the contrary to all men. So it's just you being honest with yourself. It's not being Christian or saved that gets you right on the Jews. It's being normal and honest. Let's play this clip. Someone says he gets bee slapped. I've never seen it before. Let's watch it.
You invited him to your fucking club. You gave him a ticket to the fucking club. Whoa. Okay, let's.
Dang. I don't think he was expecting that.
Why did you run?
All right, we can we can stop the video. Yeah, the guy that acts like he's such an alpha just totally just gets slapped around like a rag doll. And again, this is what woman propaganda wants to sit here and act like he's so tough, but is he really that tough? It's just a sad state of affairs. Yeah, slow motion. Oh man, I don't know. Our crew is pretty awesome, but Ben, is this the kind of guy you want to follow?
No, I want to follow people who actually believe the Bible and don't say things that are totally contrary to Scripture. I want Christian influences in my life. I want pastors that I can listen to. I want men of God. I want soul winners. That's what I'm looking for, not people like this right here.
Slow-mo.
I prefer Phillip Rivers. 10 kids in the NFL. He can take a hit. Oh, man. That guy got just...
the Phillip Rivers... individual you guys were talking about earlier sounds way cooler.
How about this? Dude, the guy didn't even hardly wind up. Like that wasn't even like those slapping competitions. I think it's like a main thing on Rumble. Like those guys could really take a hit. This guy is just like, he didn't even wind up. I mean, he just kind of like barely brings his hand up, and then just kind of last minute, just like, you know what? I might as well just get a little piece of this guy. And the right thing is to turn the other cheek.
Lowered himself. He turned his cheek.
Oh man.
Nice. Thanks.
I think he's like 5'5" or something like that. I don't know. He's like this tiny little he's got a big mouth.
He's not that smart. He picks on the biggest Jew in the crowd. That's kind of dumb.
Yeah, I mean, again, people with big mouths, on the internet, I think they don't realize reality or the real world. They go out there and they actually confront people.
I think they live in a false sense of reality. They live in a false sense of reality, especially with the video games that they're playing, where they can be the big, rough, tough guy with an AK-47 going around shooting people and doing stuff and fighting and things like that. It's like, that's not real. That's your video game world. In reality, it's a totally different story.
We've got some other clips that we can react to. And, in Australia, there was a lot of people who got killed by a couple of Muslim extremists. And I don't know that I want to necessarily play that clip, but there was another clip. It's clip F, and it's got kind of a picture of a bunch of Muslims in Australia. Like, there's a Muslim problem in Australia, not just in Europe.
We talk a lot about Europe, which
is crazy.
It is landlocked. to where the Muslims are, but here in Australia even, apparently they've all been imported by boat or plane or whatever. That is indistinguishable from a Muslim country.
That's got to be a terrifying sight if you're in Australia. I mean, that's a lot of Muslims.
That is a disease that's going to eat Australia alive from the inside out. Horrific.
I mean, considering their first cousin marriage, this could just be like a family reunion. I didn't think about that.
It could be.
This is just one family.
That was one
Muslim
family.
family's having a picnic. Oh
Yeah.
man.
But Australia wants to be a libtard haven, and they want to push SJW nonsense, and they want to turn away from the things of God. Well, maybe God's going to send an Islamic horde to punish them. It's happening in Europe. It's happening in Australia. And what happens whenever it does? A clash of civilizations scenario in which these people do not assimilate, and they cause a whole bunch of problems. I hope Australia enjoys it because, unfortunately, it's what they've rolled out the red carpet for.
I watched this video recently where this guy was filming the Australian police coming up to him. It was in public spaces where he was like, he wasn't a street preacher maybe he was, I don't know, but he had the sign on it. And like, I don't agree with necessarily people. He doesn't shout people down. He doesn't say you're going to hell because you listen to music or anything like that. But he was just standing there and trying to talk to anybody that would talk to him. And they said that you cannot be here. You're not allowed to be here. And then he was just like at a bus station and showing himself. It was just being filmed where they were told him he couldn't talk to people that were getting ready to get on like the public transit. And it's just like, but you'll just put up with the Muslim hordes invading your country. And so it's like, you get.
Well, they don't care about the laws of the land. They Muslims try to do their own law and their own policing, and in Australia you can't have a firearm. I know Kyle Rittenhouse commented about this. I think it was the next clip G, but or maybe you could just pull up his post. I don't know if okay, it's not the full post. I guess I'll just read. This is what Kyle Rittenhouse said. Australia disarmed its citizens. Result: Jewish families are gunned down with a bolt action rifle, no less, while the government's, quote, gun control ensured no one could shoot back. This is why we must never give an inch when defending the Second Amendment. You can play the clip. There's not much to it, but there's like a couple Muslim guys are out there just with some bolt action rifles.
Is this one of the
just
countries
cherry picking people in a park?
Yeah, obviously this is a terrible atrocity here. Is there
that sped up video?
I think it was about.
Or is he actually cocking that thing back that fast?
Is this
yeah,
one
I
of
think
the,
he is.
Is this one of the countries that Pastor Anderson was banned from?
No.
Yep.
I don't think so.
Well, it looks like I got a yep and a no at the same time.
Yeah, I think he's kicked out of Australia, and
is he?
I know Pastor Robertson was deported from there. So, because he was making that film about Muslims, and then he confronted some imams, and then
he just banned from the UK. I'll ask him.
I'm pretty sure he's banned from Australia.
What's your point, Ben? If he's banned from Australia,
I want to make sure. I wanted to make sure I was accurate with the point. I guess I'll use Logan Robertson instead. It's funny how this country does not want Baptist pastors, Baptist preachers in it who just want to make a documentary peacefully, not hurting anybody, but then they're inviting these just hordes of savages into their country, and now they are reaping the supposed benefits of that before our very eyes.
Yeah, Pastor Robertson was definitely deported for just talking negatively about Muhammad. Pastor Anderson texted me back. He said, yes, he was deported, or he wasn't deported. He was banned from Australia and New Zealand. So you're right, Pastor Thompson.
Well, there you go. You can add Pastor Anderson to the list as well. So they don't want Baptist pastors in their country, but they want these violent hordes of Islamicists who go out and shoot innocent people.
Yep. We're the bad guys. We're the violent terrorists. our mouths are terroristic.
Yeah, and again, obviously I oppose Judaism and Jews, and I don't like, the synagogue of Satan, but I don't agree with just random quote ethnic Jewish people being gunned down in broad daylight. That's obviously a horrific tragedy as well, but we just see violence escalating, and at some point, I think that everyone is just going to just get fed up with Islam, and it's going to be the world versus Islam, and we're going to stop tolerating their existence. But it almost seems like that either the devil, the Jews, or whoever you want to, they're kind of the same team. They want to like escalate the rhetoric for a little bit longer. They want to make them a bigger nuisance and problem to get more anti-Muslim sentiment on the rise. 9/11 wasn't an organic Muslim attack. It was a staged event. So I think it's hard for them to keep pushing that, especially now that people have woken up on that issue. So now they need fresh incidents. They need something, where the Muslims are really doing their thing. And I kind of think that there's going to be an increase of Muslim attack in America. I know that even in my area, Dallas-Fort Worth area, like Plano, there's like a big deal about Muslims trying to build a big city here, a big holdout here. It's evil, it's wicked. We shouldn't want it. Obviously, I can hate two enemies at the same time. And I think that Alex Jones commented on this too. We have a clip of him kind of talking about this issue. I think it's clip number B.
There may be a language warning here as well.
Yeah, who knows? I can't. Sorry. Let's play this clip.
Blown away
back to it.
by the mental retardation. Because I worry about you guys. It's not the criticism I care about. It's about you. I will literally post, oh, look, Chernobyl's leaking again. We've got a problem. Or, oh, look. It's like, why are you covering up for Jews? Or, oh, man, this hurricane sure devastated this area. Please donate. Jews. Look, the Muslim Brotherhood is celebrating the murder of all these Jews. Yeah, why you care about them Jews? Well, A, I don't want to kill the Jews. And B, the Muslims want to kill all the Christians too, you dumbasses. So there's a lot of right-winger populace, not a lot, but it's a big minority, that literally love Islam. They all kissy-fishy all over the internet, and they have joint symposiums together, and they talk about the, National White Alliance with Islam. You guys are idiots.
We don't have to play the whole clip, but he makes a pretty big deal about the idea of, can you be against both Jews and Islam? I think he makes a big rant later in this clip saying that, he doesn't want cancer or, to be shot or something. He doesn't want he's just basically saying actually, let's keep playing this because I want to get to this clip. I don't want to mess it up because it was actually kind of funny.
Saying, look for that. And remember, they're allied at the highest political levels with the globalist left, who's brought them in and works with them. The Arab Spring was run, and the head of the Muslim Brotherhood when he was president was Obama. Obama went over there and met with them when they overthrew Egypt. And it came out then that he was in command of the Muslim Brotherhood and then was exporting weapons and money to them all over to attack in Sudan, attack in Kenya, attack all over. That's a real statement I just said. Even I saying it just sounds crazy. And Fast and Furious wasn't just about framing gun owners by shipping millions of guns.
I feel like I had a different one that was shorter, B. If you use the B clip, I think it's shorter. It's only 2 minutes, and it's exactly the rant that I wanted. See if you can pull that one up instead. I don't think so because the B clip's only 2 minutes and 21 seconds. He was saying this. I think our crew was saying this one was like 2 minutes and 28 seconds. Yeah. Go ahead and play that one whenever you get it ready. Yeah, Ben is sometimes wrong on his takes, and so he said that it's all the same, but it wasn't. So, anyways, I don't want to mess up this clip because it's really funny. So, hang on with us, audience. We'll read some comments in here. Adela Lyle says, Pastor Shelley, this is why we were amazed you got in Australia. Yeah, me too. I think it's just mostly because I didn't promote it like super hard. I didn't make as big a deal. Plus, during that time, we had lost so much just ability to promote things anyways. We've been banned and censored so much that it was just hard to even get messages out there. So I think that's part of it. Also says, hey, this is God's judgment. Yeah, I'm not going to say it's not God's judgment, but I also just don't want to take, the law into our own hands and just gun down Jews just because. But let's go ahead and play the rest of this clip.
Because I worry about you guys. It's not the criticism I care about. It's about you. I will literally post, oh, look, Chernobyl's leaking again. We've got a problem. Or, oh, look. It's like, why are you covering up for Jews? Or, oh, man, this hurricane sure devastated this area. Please donate. Jews. Look, the Muslim Brotherhood is celebrating the murder of all these Jews. Yeah, why you care about them Jews? Well, A, I don't want to kill the Jews. And B, the Muslims want to kill all the Christians too, you dumbasses. So there's a lot of right-winger populists, not a lot, but it's a big minority, that literally love Islam. They all kissy-fishy all over the internet, and they have joint symposiums together, and they talk about the, National White Alliance with Islam. You guys are idiots. Absolute. I'm going to explain to you like this like you're 5 years old. You won't even know what it is, though, to you fake nationalists, fake Christian patriots. If I had a glass of water here and a glass of water right here, and one had a couple tablespoons of arsenic in it, and the other had a couple tablespoons of cyanide in it, and I'm like, don't drink the arsenic and don't drink the cyanide. And you're like, why are you covering up for the arsenic? And I'm like, or here's an easier one. There's a box right here, and it's got 5 or 6 black widows in it and 5 or 6 brown recluses. Both deadly, both can kill you. And I don't want to stick my hand in either box. Can you understand that? Like, I don't want a heart attack, and I also don't want cancer. See, it's like, you understand that, right? Like, I don't want to eat dog shit or cat shit. You understand, right? You can get that in your head? But the Muslims are funding a lot of this Israel obsession, that Israel is in total control of everything, including what time you have a bowel movement.
I'm just like, I just want to know, are the Muslims and the Jews, like, which ones are the dogs and which ones are the cats in this scenario? Because did Alex Jones just say that Jews are SHIT? Because I think he did. And I just thought that was kind of funny. What's your reaction on that?
That was so funny. I love these clips where Alex is animated. It's super entertaining. I find him to be hilarious. In terms of this issue, I get where he's coming from, honestly, because I think you do have people on the right. I mean, we had one on our show a couple weeks ago where they are making excuses for the wickedness of Islam, all
like we
in
need
the
to
name
partner with them.
Yeah, and talking about partnering with them, all because they oppose Zionism, not understanding that you could both despise the false religion of Islam and Judaism at the same time. And I think they're kind of picking one over the other, and it's resulted in them saying a bunch of really stupid stuff. And look, I do think Alex does lean a little bit too much in the Israel direction. I do think Israel does disproportionately control things, and I think the Jews definitely have wielded power and make up the ruling class. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, I do see where he's coming from. I don't think we should be one-issue people and obsess over just one thing when there's a lot of false religions out there, Islam being one of them for sure.
So we can hate cat and dog dung at the same time.
Exactly. You could rip face on the Jews until the cows come home, but also acknowledge that Islam is wicked as hell. You can hate dog dung and cat dung and want nothing to do with either one.
I think Pastor Oz was really offended at the idea of anybody saying anything positive about Islam and Muslims, and agree with the sentiment. Pastor Thompson, if you had to pick between cat and dog dung, what are the Jews on this scale?
Definitely the dog. Because I don't think that there's any
dogs.
homosexual controlled cities like Tel Aviv and Islam. They do their stuff on the DL, in Afghanistan and stuff like that. But at least that's what I've heard. So, but the Jews are openly pro-homo and even have the most friendly homo city in Israel, which is, again, Tel Aviv. So, and then they're pretty openly homo, even in the United States. It's promoted by them big time. So,
well, they both
they're
have their
definitely the
pros
dog.
and cons. Mostly just cons. I guess you could say the Jews are a little bit more civilized, but they're also, more deceptive in their, means of, secret societies crawling in tunnels underneath the city, subliminal messaging. Seems like the Muslims are a lot lower IQ in their efforts and energies. They're more obnoxious. They're more just kind of gross as a people group, on the surface. But it seems like the Jews are almost more gross inside in their heart. Some people in the comments are saying, I think they're the cats. Cats are manipulative. Dogs just act on instinct. That's their justification. That's a pretty good justification. What do you think, Ben? Dogs, cats? Do you have a feeling here?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with dogs. I actually kind of like cats, so I feel like it's hard to call them Jews. And at least
Spiritually
Muslims.
Sodom.
Yeah, spiritual Sodom. You bring up Tel Aviv. It's one of the most fag-friendly places on the planet. So, beware of dogs. Beware of the Jews. I'm going to say the Jews are dogs in this metaphor.
Oh, man.
My favorite,
And plus,
my favorite
pretty funny
verses.
clips.
Another thing I want to say, too, is that dogs are very dirty a lot of the time. Not all the time. Okay, if you have a dog, you have a nice golden retriever at home, I'm not trying to attack you. There's some dogs that I like, and I enjoy petting them and things like that. There's the caveat, all right? But you look at some of these dogs that are just kind of in the gutter, on the streets, these stray dogs. They're very dirty, they're grimy, they're gross, the undomesticated ones. And they do remind me of Jews. You talk about Jews, they're in the tunnels. Oftentimes they look like they don't shower. They're very gross people. And I think that is another parallel you see with dogs, between Jews and dogs.
Well, when it comes to the
Muslims
dog
are dirty
issue, yeah, that's true. When it comes to the dog issue, Pastor Thompson, preached a sermon against them, and it caused somebody in our church to rage quit super hard, hate on me, call me a false prophet, all kinds of crazy things for his sermon at Red Hot. And, you didn't destroy the conference, but you did for some people. So I just want to throw that out there. But, the thing I love about Pastor Thompson is almost every time I get to hear him preach in person, he always brings up Philippians chapter 3, verse 1 for me. And so, I just in verse 2. And so I just really appreciate that. He wants to keep me safe.
Hey, yeah, isn't that the chapter that says to write the same things to you? To me is not grievous, but for you it is safe.
Yeah. So
there you go.
He's just trying to save me. He's trying to save me, and it's not grievous to him at all. And so I love that about him, and I love that he takes that verse to heart. And the second verse, beware of dogs. I don't feel like I have another clip, but I want to just kind of open it up if there's something else you want to talk about.
I was curious
Pastor Thompson.
I was kind of curious your reaction, Pastor Shelley, to what Alex Jones was saying there. I don't think we really got your point of view, really.
Yeah, I think it was apropos. I think that Alex was making a good point for the first time. It almost seems like he was letting his hair down and actually calling it like it is. And, I think that unfortunately it doesn't seem consistent with some of the other attitudes and behaviors and things that he says sometimes. I do appreciate the fact that he is at least calling out Muslims, and he's not saying hey, let's partner with them, because that's not a solution to anything. And so at least that's a good take. Again,
I feel like he's always
Alex
been
is
anti-Islam.
kind of back and forth. Yeah, so maybe it's just he would have to be consistent here. But I'm just saying, he wasn't only anti-Islam in this. He was comparing arsenic and poison, cancer and a heart attack, cat, S and dog S. And so it was just kind of funny to me that, he was making that parallel, because to me, I didn't think it was necessarily that bad that he would clown up on Muslims. I think that making that comparison, some people would be like, what in the world? Why are you saying that? Do you think, and he's brought Nick Fuentes on his show a lot recently. Do you think that he's kind of changed his tune on the JQ? Because I know for a while he was kind of fed up with it, didn't want to talk about it, like because he felt like he has to now to pivot for his audience sake because he's kind of losing the narrative. I'm not sure what to think on that.
Do you have an opinion on that one, Pastor Thompson?
It sounds like he's changed his opinion. I mean, I've usually heard him be pro-Jew, and it sounds like he's definitely, if you're putting him in the dung category, then I don't think I've ever heard him compare Israel to feces before. So sounds like he's changed his mind.
I think that he's gotten more brazen in his criticism for Israel, whereas in the past he would shut down the conversation as soon as it went there. Now I think he's a lot more open to talking about Israeli influence on American policy, and so that is a change. You could argue the change is being made because he realizes that the tide has turned on that issue, and he doesn't want to get left behind and viewed as an afterthought or somebody to where, the current landscape has sort of passed him by. But I think with regard to Alex, he still, though, is perturbed by the one issue people. And I think what we're seeing in that clip is him trying to correct them and say, look, if you're against Zionism, it doesn't mean that you have to be pro-Islam. And that's the point he's making. I agree with that.
I guess that's true. He is kind of trying to pull back on the hating the Jews too hard crowd. Maybe is the main.
I think that's clearly the point of the clip.
But
which again, I understand where he's coming from. I do think that there is a danger where if you become too much of a one-issue guy, that you will make excuses for Islam and you will start to go soft on that particular issue.
Look, folks, it's the globalists. The globalists are taking over. It's not just a bunch of Jews. It's just globalists, and we got to watch over the globalists.
Yeah, again, I don't really watch much, Alex. Probably just clips only. But no, I think we can pivot. I'm just kind of curious. Is there anything else you wanted to bring up or talk about, Pastor Thompson? Anything that I just wanted to give you an opportunity.
I was just kind of thinking about like the left-right paradigm and how they, the media kind of, they demonize the right and prop up the left, but really the Jews are controlling that narrative, and they're the ones that they demonize. So in reality, they demonize themselves in the news. It's like wrestling, pro wrestling. They have these people that they're all friends behind the stage. And it's kind of the way that politicians are too. And really, they're all owned by the same company, and they're all friends, and they play the heel on purpose. Like somebody will be a good guy like John Cena for a long time. And then like he just has recently for the first time in his career become the heel, which is, he turns bad and, he choke slams somebody in the ring. And then it's like all the fans are like, oh, I can't believe John Cena's bad now or whatever. But I'm just saying that to say this is that we're given this dog and pony show that like we're given this dog and pony show that like Republicans bad, Democrats good, and Jews bad, and Islam good. But in reality, they're all part of the same. They're all part of the same brand, and they're just Israel plays the heel for whatever reason, and then the Muslims, they're not going to be evil spoken against. That was a real quick like time out that Muslims are bad so they could attack these, places and get their oil and all this other stuff. But then they quickly got away from that. And now they just are all just gushing over them and letting them invade our countries and stuff. But there's a reason why they're doing that. And eventually they probably are going to, just start some big world war with them or something. And it'll be us against them and, whatever. Israel will be the good guys at some point. They'll stop being the heel and turn good, because that's what happens in wrestling too. You'll have the New World Order with Hulk Hogan and Macho Man and all those guys where they turn bad, but then they eventually turn good again. And so it's all just a big show. And the Bible says if Satan casts out Satan, he is divided against himself. How shall then his kingdom stand? So, and we know that the Jews are, sons of the devil, basically. If they're, they said Jesus, that's what Jesus said. You're of your father, the devil. And so there is this big, global initiative to destroy Christianity, to destroy the sovereignty of our nations. And, the net's just kind of just closing in on everybody. And you can kind of see it happening globally with religion also and in the government. So it's just, this big, long process that's been happening since Cain and Abel, with the religion. And, you see it with the government over the thousands of years, but it is getting closer. Obviously, I'm not saying we're at the end of the end or something like that, but the games that they play it's pageantry. I guarantee you that behind closed doors, Nancy Pelosi is shaking hands with the senators that she supposedly hates because they all love Israel. They all support Israel, and Nancy Pelosi will get up there and say they're our friends and all this other stuff. But it's just so weird that we think that they hate each other, and so then you have this right left, fighting against each other. They're rioting in the streets over it, and they're all just laughing about it. I guarantee you, they're just laughing about it. And meanwhile, Israel owns every politician in office, basically, and they lobby.
Well, anybody that says they don't like the NFL because it's rigged, and then they like the WWE is a giant hypocrite. And politics doesn't seem. I think politics is less real than WWE. So at least WWE kind of follows a script and narrative and has some integrity. I think our politicians are even more fake than WWE, unless you listen to Manly Perry, which of course he believes that WWE is real and the Ultimate Warrior is his favorite hero. So there's always that. But I know you're a big WWE fan. What do you think about this WWE comparison in politics, Ben? The Israel conflict, is it all a big show? Is there anything real anymore?
It's an excellent comparison because in the professional wrestling business, you see guys that will pretend to hate each other on camera, even in interviews outside of the show. They'll keep that going. It's called kayfabe. They'll act like, oh, this guy's my hated rival. I can't stand him. Meanwhile, they're out and they're shaking hands and hanging out backstage when the cameras aren't rolling. So it's the same thing with the two-party system, because at the end of the day, they are ruled over by the exact same ruling class. It's two wings of the same bird, and they're actually kind of like a two-gang system.
Isn't Trump a WWE performer?
So he appeared in the WWE on a few occasions, and he's actually in their Hall of Fame.
So what's the difference?
I think you nailed it. I'm not arguing.
I never was a WWE fan, so this is my genre that I just don't know anything about or care about. I'm sorry to say it just seemed gay, and so a bunch of guys oiled up together, rubbing on each other, just and it's not even real. Like it just never really sat well with me. The theatrics of it were a little bit over the top, obviously on purpose, but I just never was a WWE fan.
Yeah, but to be fair, I never watched it for the matches. I like the storytelling. I don't really care about the matches necessarily.
Our audience is begging Pastor Thompson to give us some Macho Man impression. Apparently, Pastor Thompson's got it. Go for it.
I'm not that good at it, actually. Let me tell you something, brother.
That's Hogan.
Oh man, that was pretty good.
Hogan, yeah,
that was Hogan right there. That was a good Hogan.
Take your vitamins. Yeah.
Oh man,
I got to be in the right mood to. I can't. I'm not a performing animal. I can't just do things on. I have to be in.
I thought that was pretty good on the fly right there. Oh man,
I watched it when I was a kid for a while, and when I found out it was fake, I quit watching it. But I still do love the monologues that they give, on camera. Macho Man was the greatest showman. I felt like of all wrestlers, but I haven't watched all wrestling. I've seen just The Rock when he was really popular. I'd hear some of his monologue, his stuff that he would say, and they all have their signature moves that they do, and then they all have their signature sayings that they say. So like, The Rock would be like, "You smell what the Rock's cooking," or whatever, and then I don't know what his signature move was, but like you know what I'm talking about, Pastor Shelley? Like they have signature moves, like like the DDT was, where they grab their in a headlock and smash them on the mat or whatever.
I feel like they like get on the corner and they jump and they kind of like grab them by the head and throw them down or something. It's just like or the famous
Macho Man would get on the top rope,
hit him with the table or something. Yeah. I don't know. Again, I'm not, or I guess, what is it? Just the arm bar? Is that the classic move? You just basically run to the rope and then you run back and you just kind of arm bar your opponent. That's kind of like the classic WWE move or something. I don't know. I've just never been into WWE.
They are great athletes.
Ben could probably
Macho Man was a stud athlete, and I think he's from New Jersey or from New York or something. But his brother was actually Leaping Lanny Poffo, which I didn't know that for a long time. But Macho Man, before he became a wrestler, he was like a stud base. I think he got drafted to the majors, and he was a stud athlete, but he just wasn't good enough to play professional baseball. But I think he was the minors and got drafted to some team. But I mean, these guys are in great shape, and I think John Cena, like he can barely walk now, but it is obviously a lot of the punches are pulled, but they do hurt each other, and people die from it, because they do the move wrong or something like that. But they're impressive athletes to be able to jump off and do some of the stuff.
They are like
pretty cool.
It looks like hurting themselves. Some of those falls look a little intense. Yeah.
It's very damaging. It's very damaging on the body to do professional wrestling. A lot of guys who've done that and MMA have said MMA is way easier just because of the schedule. You're fighting like once every 6 months. In WWE, it's like 2 or 3 times a week that they're making you go out and do matches. So it's very punishing on the body. My wife thinks professional wrestling is one of the stupidest things in the world. And she's told me like, hey, when's Pastor Shelley going to rip on wrestling? And I was like, well, I don't think that's in the cards, sweetheart. But yeah, I just wanted to give her a shout out.
I appreciate. Yeah. That's legit. Maybe I need to think about it more. It's probably just I never think about it. That's my problem. Definitely something to rip on. Here's the thing. I don't know much about it, so it's hard for me to rip on something that I'm just that ignorant of, and I don't really care enough to learn about it. But
politicians are like the wrestlers, because the wrestlers get up and they hype up their stuff. Well, Ted Cruz will get up and hype up Israel, and he'll say all this stuff, but then his daughter's a queer, and he condemns the Ugandan president for punishing homos for being homos or whatever. And it's like he champions himself as this great conservative Christian or whatever, and I think he's famous for saying, if you don't stand with Israel, then I don't stand with you or whatever. It's like the guy's just a total. I think he said he got into politics so that he could help Israel and further Israel's cause. It's like, they're just laughing in our faces as they just tell us that they're Zionist shills. It's disgusting. And what's the alternative? We're completely run by the nut house now. And I don't think Donald Trump's any different, really. So, unfortunately.
Yeah, it is unfortunate. And I learned that about Trump is you can't just overlook somebody who's such a hardcore Zionist. And that's something I thought that I could do, is just say, well, okay, yeah, he's wrong on the Israel issue, like badly wrong on the Israel issue. And he's definitely a puppet for Netanyahu and for Israel and for the Jews. And he's beholden to them. I get that. But, look over here. And I've realized, like, you can't really do that, because at the end of the day, the Jew influence is always going to rear its ugly head, and you're going to have situations like we've had with the Trump administration, the second go-around, where he has been so brazen about his being captured by Jews that he's bombing Iran. He's totally sold out our foreign policy to Israel, warmongering on their behalf, practically bowing down to Netanyahu. So that's where I'm at.
He's had some resistance, though. Like, I think he just had some Arab leader or something, and then he's like openly criticized them also, which is kind of throws me for a loop. But I don't know. Again, they play it's games. Maybe he isn't as I'm not saying he's like a reprobate or some kind of.
No, I don't think he's reprobate either. But another thing I've noticed with Trump too is that if you're not taking AIPAC money, he's going to come after you, like he did with a Thomas Massey, for example. And the politicians that are most in bed with Israel, he will support wholeheartedly.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, she just got outed for because didn't Trump like call her like a weirdo or something, and she's all on the rampage now.
He'll feud with anybody that begins to question Israel. Yes, which I understand. MTG has a bunch of problems. It's still the overall point though is the same, that if you start questioning Israel, if you don't take their money, he's going to go after you. So that is another example of him being just so virulently pro-Jew. It's frustrating.
Well, can we get Alex to clown on him for that? But I think we have another clip, and WWE just is too fake for me to want to keep talking about. But somebody sent me a meme about it. But
who says?
Here we go. This is how little I care about pro wrestling.
Is this Mrs. Shelley's meme here?
No.
Oh, okay. Pro wrestling, Pastor Shelley. I don't think about you at all.
Let's.
Hey, that's all right. Hey, it's not for everybody, Pastor Shelley. It's okay.
We'll probably end our show around 10 again, like normal. But there is a clip here. It's kind of longer. We don't have to listen to all of it. But that women propaganda guy actually did a clip about Pastor Anderson. Someone shared it in the chat. We can pull it up and listen to a little bit of this. But I guess he's talking with Jesse Lee Peterson. Jesse Lee Peterson. I think him and Pastor Anderson have done a couple different interviews actually over time. Jesse Lee Peterson has said he doesn't sin. Jesse Lee Peterson kind of came out. I think information came out about him that he was like a homosexual or something like this. I don't know. Maybe there was another clip too that someone sent in. It was Steven Crowder confronting Piers Morgan on the interview he did with Nick Fuentes. I don't know if we could pull up. I'll take either one of those clips so we can respond to it a little bit here, but it's kind of responding to some of the news tonight.
I do think that if you're talking about the money raised, we are now dealing with the reaction and not with the action that has led to.
This is about Shiloh Hendricks.
I was raised, and I want to be clear about this, and I know I'll be told that I don't know anything about the black experience, so I'm not saying from you, but people will watch this and say, you couldn't possibly know. In a post-racial America, by the way, largely Canada, the most recognizable faces on earth, Michael Jordan, Mike Tyson, Michael Jackson, that one's a half one. The point is, our greatest export was culture in America, celebrated our black celebrities. I didn't think about watching Fresh Prince or Urkel with my close black friends. But today, when you look at this, this is a reaction to white people. And this is important. And if you want to know what the reaction is, look at Gen Z voting males, in particular, Hispanic males, who we've been told, including by Dr. Hill, should be natural allies of the black community. When you're a white person in this country and it's, hey, you don't know the lived experience, but I know yours. When it's, hey, if you move into an area, that's gentrification. But if you leave, it's white flight. It's, hey, sit down and shut up. And then it's silence is violence. It's, hey, you can't use empirical in making an argument about neighborhoods regarding crime data, but you also can't say you have a black friend, which, by the way, is a completely legitimate defense against racism. The only way to win is not to play, and so people aren't even talking. And I want to make one last point. I do a segment on this show called Black and White and the Gray Issues, where I will, as Dr. Hill does, go into barbershops, go into black neighborhoods, and discuss these issues with them. And not once has anyone accused me of a whiff of racism. What white people are afraid of in this country, and the reason they're not having a dialogue, is the game of telephone and someone in the media telling a community that they should be experiencing an affront. And that leads to more racial division. It doesn't end anywhere good.
Okay, but let me respond
to that. It's not accountability. It's false outrage.
If you don't mind me saying, you're being slightly distracting from the actual story, which to me should be an open and shut case. Whether you're on the left or the right, it should not be difficult to watch footage of a white woman repeatedly using the N-word at an adult black male and then using it at a 5-year-old black child. Obviously, any human being, it seems to me, with any understanding of the history of the United States of America should be able to say that is completely unacceptable. And not go into some long speech about this, and this. It just is wrong.
Didn't I say you shouldn't say it?
Right. So I think we have to agree certain parameters.
Shouldn't say it.
So
let's not ask how we got here.
So certain parameters. So we just say that is completely wrong, right? And then we move on to, is it right that she's now had hundreds of thousands of dollars in donations to support her? I say again, that is completely ridiculous and outrageous, and it's been whipped up by a fake kind of moral equivalence. Well, you know what? People are racist about white people, so of course we should support her. No, just take a line in the sand and say, if you use the N-word against black people, you are being racist. If you're white, you know you're being racist, you shouldn't do it, and you should face consequences when you do it. And your first reaction, if you're somebody else involved who's white looking at that story, shouldn't be, here's some of my money to help you, you poor victim. She wasn't the victim. The victim was the 5-year-old black child that she racially abused, and the adult black person she racially abused.
All right, let's racially abused. What does that even mean?
So, Pastor, can I just say I want to say one really quickly, just to add a little more context to the clip, and then I want to hear your reaction. Piers Morgan does use the term racially abused in relation to using the N-word. Additionally, later on in this clip, we don't have to play it, I'll just tell you, there is an African American who shows up, and he basically says that using that word against to an African American is victimizing them. So they do feel that it makes them a victim of the word. So anyway, I just wanted to add that. Go ahead.
Again, we throw around the word abuse so loosely. If you want to say it's calling someone a name, okay, abuse. What? And again, the Shiloh Hendricks. This is an old story. I can't remember exactly what happened. What happens in the actual incident? Isn't it some child steals stuff from this woman?
Yeah, her purse. So there's a 5-year-old child. The 5-year-old child starts rummaging through her purse, and she kind of just flips out about it. He's stealing things, and I think also was bullying her son. And she kind of flips out, and she's confronted for some reason on camera, and that's when the word was said, and it caused the big controversy.
But she was arrested, I think, and also given charges for disorderly conduct, may even had to hire a lawyer. I think that's where the money part came in. Frankly speaking, like, I don't really care what people give their money to. People can do whatever they want. I don't think that people were just saying, let's give money to a woman using this word or derogatory term.
Yes. No, that's
obviously
very important to mention.
When you're criticizing a child, obviously people are going to take offense no matter what words or language you use. I don't know. I don't know if Crowder's even right to bring in the baggage of just all race relations that have ever existed to be, quote, context for this video or something. I think it doesn't really matter. If a child is doing things that they shouldn't and they get criticized by an adult, shouldn't we just side with the adult? I mean, at the end of the day, if my child is stealing stuff from another family, if we're at the park and they go steal someone's purse or rummaging through their stuff, and a parent starts screaming at them and uses bad language or calls them names, I'm just going to go over there and say, hey, I'm sorry, my child shouldn't have done that, and moved on. I'm not going to sit here and say my child's racially abused and making such a big deal. Like, to me, why are we defending theft? Like, I just don't get it. To me,
it's just the broader
nonsense.
It's the broader cultural impact of that word is a very, very controversial word, and I think just the fact that it was used by a white woman is what created the giant issue and what made the video go viral. Just simply using that word. It's the word that's the problem. It's the word that gets everybody riled up. And really, I think that's the issue, is that she used that word, and it is automatically viewed as, if you use that word, you just lose the moral high ground no matter what.
Look, I don't use that word. I don't talk disparagingly about people. I think that it would be inappropriate. But at the end of the day, I'm not the type of person to lose my mind over words. I think people probably know that about me. I don't know. Do you know about this story, Pastor Thompson?
Yeah, I think I watched the video. I watched the Mark Dice video where he's uh, kind of championing the woman a little bit too much, I think. But I don't know that he stole anything. I think that he just went through her purse, but I don't know that he stole. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I don't really remember that part of it. But I mean, obviously, to me, it was a little bit of a severe reaction to just sit there. I mean, to call a little boy that, I think is a little over the top, obviously. But um, I don't know. I didn't hear, you only see when someone starts recording a video. You don't know the whole interaction. I think a lot of people like to, once someone's already riled up, then they put the record button on. So you don't know what was said to her first. So I think it's a little unfair sometimes. But like, I think that the response of giving her money is the fact that, people just start looking up where you work, looking up, where you live and terrorizing you like we've experienced, of course, before. And they just think that, you should be killed and your house blown up and everything wiped away from you. You deserve to not live in society, and you're the world's biggest piece of crap because you made a mistake like that. Especially when you're angry or something. Obviously people should be able to live some things down, and to have your whole livelihood destroyed is why people were helping her with the GoFundMe stuff. And I mean, some people's motivation for giving to that is, I don't know. I don't want to speculate on people's, reasons for doing things, but at the same time, people should be able to still be able to earn a living. I don't think calling someone the N-word is the world's greatest sin. I don't think being a racist is the world's greatest sin, even though that seems to be what the world's greatest sin is in this country. But I've experienced more racism than I've ever given. It's funny because when I was growing up as a kid in the '80s, Whitney Houston was the greatest female vocalist. Eddie Murphy was the biggest star. There was black people were integrated fully in our society at that time and had been for a long time. And I didn't live in the South, so I didn't. I mean, I know that in the South stuff was still bad in some areas like that, but like I didn't experience that, and I didn't grow up racist at all like that. But when I first heard that in the South churches were racist and would segregate, wouldn't allow white women to date black men, that shocked me. So again, but I've been jumped by packs of black guys before, just and called and said, "Hey, what's up, white boy?" So is that not a racially charged thing? Of course it is. But there's a if you're white, you can never experience racism. You're the racist no matter what. And that's what people are sick of. That's what people don't like. And I think that there's the wave of people being more racist. I think there's a connection with being told you're racist all the time. It pisses people off. And for someone like me, when I've had people actually be racist towards me, it pisses me off. So I can understand why if someone is being treated some way just because of the color of their skin, it's irritating. I mean, I've had Native Americans treat me like that, or say stuff like that to me, and it just instantly sets me off because I just don't feel that way towards people. And I'm a Christian. I believe that we're all of one blood, and so that's just how I feel about it. So
I agree. I don't think that white people are really that racist anymore. I think that, for the most part, they just don't like seeing the criminal activity and the criminal activity being excused and the thug lifestyle just denigrating our society. And so black people are getting a bad rap for those things. But at the end of the day, like, to me, what's the sad part of this is that Pierce Morgan makes a story about it. It's like, we're not going to make a story about 5-year-olds, black children drowning in pools and actually dying. We're not going to make a story about, black child's father walks out on him and causes him to be a fatherless child. No, we want to make a story about a white woman calling a kid doing something he shouldn't, no matter how you slice it, a bad name. Why is that a story? This is ridiculous. Baptist pastor said something negative about Joe Biden. White woman said something negative about a child, doing something he shouldn't. Like, the fact that these are the storylines shows the heart of the issue, shows like where people are just totally missing the whole narrative. It's like, if you actually care about black people, a white woman using a bad name for a child is not the problem in America. It's not the problem with the black community. It's not the problem with race relations. Actually, it's stoking more racism. It's stoking more problems than actually curing anything. And him making this just grandiose grandstanding, oh, I would never use that, let's condemn this, and I can't believe it's abhorrent that she would get money and blah, blah, blah. Like, this is the problem with society. The problem is that, Pierce Morgan is saying that you're just as likely to be shot by white people as black people, with skewed statistics to try and just basically undermine narratives that people are actually seeing. It's like, hey, why don't we talk about fatherless homes? Why don't we talk about culture issues? Why don't we talk about the rap culture? If you care about saving black children's lives, why don't you talk about the fact that they need a father to teach them how to go swimming? These people are hypocrites. They're liars. They're stoking racism in our country and in our nation. And frankly speaking, it just makes me sick. It makes me sick to constantly hear these kind of narratives. I don't think of myself as a racist person at all. I don't care. I go into black neighborhoods on purpose because I want to try and get those people saved. And I like a lot of black people, and I have a lot of good interactions with black people. But yeah, I do experience from time to time racism. And to be honest, it's mostly from blacks. It's black people saying, I don't want the white man religion. It's black people giving me a bad look when I'm in their neighborhood. It's black people saying you shouldn't be here. And that doesn't stop me from going there or being around them or trying to give them the gospel. But at the end of the day, it's people like Pierce Morgan and it's others who are influencing minorities. It's influencing the inner city to think negatively about white people, think that they're all racist, think that they're all going to call them the N-word for no reason or whatever. And, it's just crap. It's crap. It's junk. It pisses me off. I don't like these type of stories getting the attention they are. And people should call out Pierce Morgan for being a hypocrite. I think that Crowder is not quite attacking the narrative the way that I would like to see it, I guess. He's just, some of the things he said I'm agreeing with. But, I don't know. I'm just, the race issue is a distraction. I get it, but it is a reality. We are experiencing, a revival in that particular fight. And I think that they want white and black people to hate each other again, but it's kind of a stupid fight. It doesn't make sense. I know I've done a couple shows recently on, race related issues because frankly speaking, I don't care about people getting married to a different race or whatever, or so-called, or, I don't think that just because some people have different characteristics or traits makes them inferior as a person. So you know what? Black people have their strengths and weaknesses. White people have their strengths and weaknesses. We should celebrate our differences from those areas. We should appreciate each other for what we can do for each other. We have some great black members of our church. And you know what? I love the fact that they're in our church. It would be really sad if I didn't have them in my church. But at the end of the day, I don't want to sit here and not preach about these issues so as to, cause the black people in my church to feel entitled or like they're victims. And I also don't want to preach to, justify white supremacy. So I think that there's kind of an awkward balance there. I don't know, Ben, how do you feel about this? Do you feel like black people or white people feel uncomfortable from some of the sermons when we talk about these issues? Do you think people are nervous about this issue? It's something you can't talk about?
Yes, I think race issues can make people uncomfortable, no question. But I think it's worth noting, Pastor Shelley, everything you just said is 100% spot on. And I want to say that there's something you said right there in that monologue, I guess, that I thought was really powerful, and I want to highlight. You had said that basically what's a lot more hurtful to African Americans than the N-word is the thug culture. What's a lot more hurtful to them, and stop me if you think I'm misrepresenting you, but what's a lot more hurtful to them is the is the destruction of the nuclear family unit. What's a lot more hurtful to them is Planned Parenthood. What's a lot more hurtful to them is the abortion and the alcohol and the crime that has taken over their communities, their hellhole inner city communities. That's a heck of a lot more hurtful than some woman using a word that I don't like myself, regardless, in response to a kid doing something bad. So there's so many things that are way worse for the African American community than Shiloh freaking Hendricks. Give me a break. And I also want to say this. I don't like the N-word. I don't use the N-word. I would never use the N-word. I'm not going to use the N-word. I don't endorse the N-word. But what if I told you it's not the blasphemy of the Holy Spirit? What if I told you that a woman can live that down and we could all move on with our lives and it doesn't have to be a national story because she uttered a word?
Yeah, let's
Sorry,
say this.
People aren't going to like that, but
I would rather have racists in my church than people like Pierce Morgan. And again, I'm not saying that I'm racist. I don't like racism. I'm going to preach against racism. But, you know, someone that is, quote, racist a little bit is not the worst sin in the world. How about being a deceitful grifter, leftist piece of crap like Pierce Morgan, who pushed for us to get rid of our Second Amendment rights? I would way rather hang around someone that's black and is kind of racist towards white people, but wants the Second Amendment, than some white guy that wants to take away the Second Amendment, than some British guy that wants to take away our rights or our freedom of speech, you know, and wants to try and condemn speech. Again, notice he's on uncensored, but then he's just so afraid of words again. You know, it's kind of a joke. It's a sham. These guys are grifters. They piss me off. They don't care about black people. They're not going out now. When has Pierce Morgan helped a single black person his entire life? Yet Pastor Thompson goes out there, preaches the gospel,
gets them saved,
preaches to a lot of black people. This guy loves black people, and I'm not saying he would use the N-word, but I'm just saying that you know, this isn't that big of a deal. You live in a I would think a more white area than probably we do, but do you feel like there's a lot of racism in the Seattle area or where you're at, Pastor Thompson?
No, I don't think that there is at all. I think that if there is, it's from the other, you know, quote unquote races. But like I said, there used to be in Northeast Portland, used to be an all black neighborhood that, they renamed their street MLK, it used to be called Union, but it got gentrified by a bunch of white liberals and now they all live, on the eastern side of the city. But,
so the whiteys renamed it to MLK.
Yeah, and then they moved all the black people out of there. But it used to be scary to walk through that neighborhood. I'll admit it. And as a matter of fact, my friend was trying to talk. He's like, let's take the bus to your house. And it was like after dark. And I knew it was just a bad idea. We had to walk like 9 blocks to go to MLK to catch the bus. And I was just like, this is a bad idea, dude. And as soon as we got to the bus stop, there was like a plaque, probably like 20 some odd guys. And I knew right when I saw them, we're in deep trouble. So I didn't get hurt. People were honking their horns and, trying to get them to stop. And they didn't really hurt us that bad, but they just came over to steal our coat and, take our hats and stuff like that. So, but it's just like, why do they do that? Well, because we were white. That's exactly what they said. So, that is true racist stuff. So like if a couple black guys were in my neighborhood and 20 white guys came and jumped those 2 black guys and called them the N-word,
it'd be national headlines.
That'd be national headlines. Yeah, it would be.
Biggest story of the year.
There's definitely an imbalance in how things are reported. It's just like, in the news when it'll say white man kills black guy in front of, and that'll be a big story, or white cop shoots black man in the back or whatever. But you won't see the other side told in the same manner. They'll just say if a black guy shoots or does some horrific crime, they'll just say man kills, so and so. But there's definitely agenda. Like Michael Savage is a Jew and he's like some radio host or whatever. But he said he is right about this. He said the white Christian male is the most hated person in America, and that is true. There's a movement to hate white people, and Jews think that they're not white for some reason, but they are. Because they left, brown and came back white or whatever, and blue-eyed. But for some reason, they think because they call themselves Jews that they're not white, but they are. But there's obviously, the Jews' agenda to do that because, again, they control the media and the news and things like that. And so that's why they're bringing everybody in and trying to skew, make it to where states are no longer predominantly white, and that's why they're bringing all the immigrants in. But what's the purpose? They just want to eradicate white people, and so when you have all these things coming together like this, it's gonna piss white people off eventually. When you can't get a job because you're the last on the list because you don't check all the boxes, you're not a black, lesbian, fat veteran or something, you're not going to get the points that it takes to get a certain job, and you're last bottom of the barrel, and that pisses people off. It's like, what? Because So Martin Luther King Jr. said, we should be judged by the content of our character, not the color of our skin. And that's exactly the opposite of what you see today. It's like, it's not the best person for the job. It's the person who checked all the boxes. I mean, who the hell wants, 5 fire women to come rescue from a burning building? They can't even lift you. Take 3 of them just to lift your body out of there. But yet they just
they'll criticize you and say you deserved it.
Yeah,
why are you in a burning building? What are you doing in there? Why'd you let it get on fire? Can't you carry yourself? Oh man,
his white privilege allowed him to own that house. He was generationally.
Oh man, yeah, he probably deserves it. I don't need men.
But I'm just saying that this is the catalyst that kind of keeps the racism going, because I remember when I was a kid, Michael Jackson was the most popular pop star in the whole world, and that transcended race.
Well, he's white.
He was on every commercial. Kids were wearing the one glove and wearing moon pants or whatever, the zipper pants, or white kids were dressing like that.
You say he's black. I say
that was
he's white.
A long time ago. Yeah, he was both.
The corporate media
he bleached his skin. Go ahead.
The corporate media narrative that white people hate black people and that black people are victims has done real world damage. I can't say that I've had black people tell me get out of the neighborhood, whitey, or something, although I've heard other people have had that experience. But here's what I have encountered on multiple occasions is African Americans rejecting the gospel, like not wanting to hear the Bible because they believe they've been victims of racism, and they're blaming the Bible for it, or blaming God, saying that the Bible endorses slavery that happened to their people, and so they're not interested in anything that I have to say about it, and just being totally obsessed with being a victim. It's really frustrating, and honestly, it's very sad when I encounter these people, and I just think that they're the product of CNN brainwashing. They're the product of this garbage social justice warrior nonsense that has socially engineered them to believe that they are victims when they are not. I reject that. I think it's garbage. It's not Christian. As Christians, we're victors. We're not victims of racism. You pull yourself up by your bootstraps and you can make something of yourself in this country. There's no systemic racism. There's no, oh no, the white man's holding me down. No, you're holding yourself down by being lazy. Go get a job and clean up your life and stop blaming white people for being a failure. Excuse me.
Ben,
thanks for telling us how you really feel.
Wow. What do you mean by these people? Actually, Ben, just joking.
Our chat's having a heated discussion on what Jesus actually looked like. Someone in the comments says he would have looked like Cristiano Ronaldo. I don't know. Quite the speculation.
The hell does that have to do with what we're talking about?
I have no idea. That's why I was
chat. You guys got to stay on topic here, man. Come on.
Pillar and Ground says I get along with black people great. So there you go.
Me too.
Yeah, I want to land the plane, but when it comes to this show, we kind of just responded to lots of random stuff. I want to promote your church there for a second. Sure Foundation Baptist Church, Spokane, Washington. I think the one theme that I could say is that a lot of what we've been responding to and looking at is kind of like a false narrative. A lot of things just kind of have like the wrong take, just bad takes in general. And I think that's what you're going to get with the internet. I think that's why it's important to go to a church, because if you're just constantly consuming the internet, you're just getting bad take after bad take, and it's just going to poison your mind. whether that be promoting fornication, whatever your take is on the Rob Reiner thing. There's nothing really positive that came out of that particular story. Obviously, people get so jaded against the Jews that they start promoting Islam, and that's obviously insane. You constantly hear this racist rhetoric that makes you more racist than you probably really are. And I'll admit, you go on the internet, you'll see video after video of just black violence just constantly in your face, and it's kind of hard to ignore. But most of the people that I encounter, I don't feel like that. I think this is kind of being used as a way to stoke more hatred, more vitriol. We need to make sure that we have love for the brethren. The Bible talks about in the end times that the love of many shall wax cold. I think that the internet has an ability to do that, to increase hatred. So I hope that you keep your heart tender and soft towards people. We need to go out and preach the gospel. We need to love people. We want to hope for their best. And, I appreciate Pastor Thompson coming on. I know it was kind of a random show tonight, but we always appreciate getting to hang out with you. I really like my new IFB fan club mug. It's super, super cool. Anything else you want to promote there, Pastor Thompson, before we let you go?
I just want to say thanks for having me on, man. And I hope you guys have a really Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And I wish blessings upon, both of you and your families and your church family. And our churches are doing well. And I just appreciate you being a good friend to me, and you, Brother Ben, also. And, I love Steadfast, and definitely praying for you guys. And we don't have anything coming up right now. We're kind of in the holiday, doing our holiday stuff. We're having, we're having a candlelight service on Wednesday, next Wednesday. And just kind of bringing in the new year, praying it in, and like we always do. And looking forward to a great year. Looking forward to coming to your conference in May at the Marching. It's not Marching in Zion. It's the Anti-Israel conference.
Anti-Israel.
Right? Yeah. So Juden. I'm looking forward to a new year of
Long lebe Deutschland.
A little bit of same. Trying to just get people saved and baptize them and teach them the Bible. So we're actually planning a trip to Alaska. What was that?
Shout out to Bible Believers Baptist in Yakima, Washington. We got a comment in the chat from there. Roblars. You said you have an Alaska trip?
Yeah. It's supposed to be in September. It's going to be like a cruise trip from leaving Seattle and hitting the ports in Alaska, trying to reach the places that are a little bit harder to reach up there. There's a lot of Inuit. They don't like being called Eskimo, but like Inuit people that are there, and hopefully they're not too entitled to hear the gospel. They're not as bad as the Canadian Indians that are just kind of cradle to grave, given everything. And that's the problem sometimes, like you were kind of talking about, is that people will, they'll get so wrapped up in their culture. Their culture is rammed down their throat. The Bible tells us to get rid of those, things that are not good for us, and, hold fast to that which is good, So get rid of that stupid heathen culture, of totem pole worshiping and all that kind of stuff. And you can cling to the things in your culture that are good, but like get rid of the other garbage. And it seems like these people, it seems like white people want to keep the cultures alive that are bad in these places. And people need Jesus. And it's unfortunate that the way that they try to block us from reaching these places, like the Hawaiians and just any islands, is that they'll just try to revive the wicked parts of their culture. It's like, sacrificing people on altars, is basically where they came from in a lot of these places. And it's like, why would you want to go back to a system that's like that? When I was in Hawaii, we went up to this place, and it was an altar where they sacrificed human beings. And there was stuff just sitting up there on the rocks that they were still, bringing offerings to their gods. And I didn't see any humans up there, but like, that's just, they're trying to get them to cling to those things, and you need to get rid of that garbage and get saved. And so, but we're trying to get, some Inuits saved up there, and any white people that are willing to get saved too. It's unfortunate that, so many white people are so closed off to the gospel when we go to these places. And up here, I just pray for us. It seems like the gospel is getting less receptive, especially up here, in the Great White Northwest. But we get a lot of immigrants saved in Seattle, and that's usually who will listen to us. So a lot of times the foreigners that are coming around are the ones that
you got to find a darker demographic.
Yeah, the darker it is, the more receptive it is, it seems like. So,
yeah,
thankful for that. So, I hope you guys
the light shines brighter.
Blessed. Yeah. So, thanks for having me on, though. Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming on the show. Thanks, Ben, for always giving us your colorful commentary. And yes, that is because you're darker than us. But any last words here before we sign off?
I don't think not by much, right? I think I can pass for a white man, just a little on the hairier side. But anyway, regardless of that, folks, I appreciate the opportunity to be here. Thanks, Pastor Shelley, for having me as per usual. I enjoyed the show. I like reacting to these clips. I think when it comes to a theme, you're right that we're basically breaking narratives here, false narratives, and you highlight the importance of church, folks. It is the pillar and ground of the truth. And that's why if you haven't heard either Pastor Shelley or Pastor Thompson preach, you're missing out. Look up Sure Foundation Baptist Church on YouTube with Pastor Aaron Thompson. On Rumble, look up Steadfast Baptist Church with Pastor Jonathan Shelley for some sound Bible preaching. And that's where you can go to get a reliable take on what's actually going on. And when I use that word reliable, I mean you don't have to worry about whether or not it's going to be biblical. They are going to give you the truth through the lenses of this, because this is what matters. This is what should be the bedrock on which we build our worldview. And as Christians, we can help to grow our knowledge on this through going to church. So thank you again. And I want to also echo the sentiment on the mug right here. UIB fan club mug. Yeah.
Well, and I want to give a shout out to our audience. Thanks for tuning in to the show. We got some more shows that are coming up. We got a few more for this season. Got some other guests that are going to be joining us. So you want to tune in Tuesdays, 8 p.m. Central Time. The bro Jay Stu says, I've always wanted to go on an Alaska cruise. Got several people agreeing there. Hey, if you want to go on a cruise, just go ahead and join Pastor Thompson's church and make sure to get the Baptist Bias.